Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the live stream of the Linux Cast. We're going to be doing a podcast here as we usually do. I don't know if YouTube actually has us live or not. It looks like we're live. Just took a little while there to load. Okay. Um, it's just Drew and I tonight. We're gonna have a fight. And I'm gonna. I used my propaganda machine to make the thumbnail what I wanted it to be. I still laugh at the fact. I still laugh at that. All right. So we're gonna. It's gonna be fun. Anyways, we're gonna do a small audio check to make sure. Oh, I need to turn myself on do not disturb. Otherwise, I'm gonna get all these notifications. There we go. That will keep me from getting pinged. Anyways, these are my words. Drew, some words, please. It's gonna be fine because I actually don't think DWM sucks. Okay. All right. So if you guys could let us know if the audio levels are good or bad, I'd be appreciative of that. That'd be good. Um, can't hear Drew at all. No Drew audio. What could possibly be the reason for that? Drew, say some words for me. Well, I can look at the thing here. I can. All right, give me a second. Advanced studio properties. All right. Try to say something now.
Say something now. Now.
It did this for me exactly the last time, and I don't
Yeah, I
know.
remember. There we go, he says. Okay, hey,
Okay.
there
All
we
right.
go.
So, just for reference for anybody who knows this, so if you go into Advanced Studio Properties, you can record each audio track on a separate track, so that when you import it into like Audacity, you can get like the guest track and the like your microphone on separate tracks. You can edit them separately. Apparently, it only streams one of them, so that was the problem. Okay, good on me for knowing that. I see nothing. Well, Hip Dad, you gotta put your glasses on, bro. All right. All right. Also, Hip Dad lost his number one. That whole ranking system just gets people to fight. All right. Good.
Are you going to leave so on the video, you have the chat in the video as
I
well.
also have the chat in both places, so
Okay.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I kind of like it,
No,
next
that's
to
cool.
us.
Yeah.
So people kind of see. I don't know. What do you guys think of the chat? You guys like the chat up on screen or no? I had to I had to remove the "Don't Show Matt" filter. Okay, well, the fact that you have such a filter is rude. Okay, let's see.
It's cool. Doesn't hurt. It's cool.
All right, we'll leave it there for now.
Yeah.
See how it goes. All right. Let me do one last check of where everything's at. Am I using OBS? I am indeed using OBS. Yep. That's that's what does all the magic, except for the recording of the audio, which actually, you want Drew? Now that well, yeah, we probably better. I was gonna say we don't have to record the audio, since we're gonna leave the video up, but since I'm gonna do the audio recording, probably better do that. Just like
Okay.
normal. Okay, so
I'll turn it on.
Yeah, you ready to go?
Yep.
All right.
Hello. There we go.
I'm gonna hit record in Audacity. I'm gonna hit record in OBS. And you can do the claps when you're ready.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Could be worse.
It's weird that it felt harder with just 2 people than 4. According to Nate, we were right on time last week. Like literally lined up, all of us.
Yeah.
That's never gonna happen again. So do horizontal. So I know I'm out of a little bit out of frame. There's not much I can do, but I can't move the camera. Not at this late stage, and have everything not go right. So you're just gonna have to deal with me being a little bit out of camera. Eventually, I'll get my setup moved around so I can do better on that, but we'll do as we can. All right. I'd say normally I say the order in this case, but it's just literally us. All right. Hey everybody, welcome to Linux Cast. I'm your host Matt.
And I'm Drew.
Okay, so we're a little sparse on the population of the podcast tonight. Nate
This is
on,
what happens during the summertime, you know?
it's just gonna happen. So Nate's on vacation. Tyler's off doing his thing. So here we are. We did try to get some backup, but it just didn't happen because we were all last minute. So you're just gonna have to be stuck with us, and Drew and I are gonna fight. It's going to be a knockdown, breakout, brawl. Because
I've been training all day. I don't know what you've been doing.
I did too. I installed all the window managers.
I installed 2.
Drew says I have a script for that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to rank the top 10 window managers of all time. There are some catches in which we'll discuss once we get there, but it's going to be fun. We promise we'll still be friends at the end of the podcast, I think. Although if you notice the thumbnail, I did kind of...
He's trolling.
I did have a little bit of fun. But before we jump into that, we have a little bit of mini topic, and this was Drew's. So Drew, take us away on the mini topic, please.
So my mini topic is my favorite alias that is surprisingly awesome and everybody should use.
Oh, that's like asking my favorite child because I have so many that are good. It's the everyone should use part that's gonna throw me though, Drew, because the one that I'm gonna choose isn't for everyone. It's just for NixOS users. So I've turned into a NixOS user. So I have one that's actually it's more of a function, I suppose. But basically, what it does is it will ensure that the repository where my Nix configuration is pushed up to GitLab, and then it will rebuild the system with the flake. Because if you don't update the Git repo, sometimes you get an error, and if you don't, it will always tell you that it's dirty. So I just have it set so it will automatically push things up. It will use a date stamp as the commit message, and it will then rebuild the flake. That's the one I've been using a lot right now. If I had to choose a more generic one, I really love the backup one that I use because I hate
Is it the Borg?
Yeah, the Borg syntax is just as bad as rsync syntax.
Okay.
So yeah, and you have to remember the IP address and the location on both the client and the server and all this stuff. And then you have to do, if you have anything to exclude, you need to make sure that the excludes are there and stuff, right? So I just have BU attached to this long ass 100 character line thing, and that's so good. I think everyone should have a backup script or a alias or something. I think that's necessity. So what about you, Drew?
So because I've been trolled, I will go with my alias for remake, which is remove the config.h and make and sudo make install. That is that is the alias I'm going to go with. There's plenty of other ones. It's just like you said, picking your favorite child type thing, but because I've been called out, I'm going to go with remake right now.
Okay, so I've been trying out Bread on Penguin's NeoVim config this week, and she has a key binding inside of NeoVim, like leader M or something. I don't know what it is because I deleted it because I don't need it. But basically, that does all that stuff for DWM right there in NeoVim.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
wish I would have thought of that. Anyways, yeah. So when I used DWM, I had the exact same thing. There's no shame in doing that because having to type that out every single time, especially when you're in the middle of building it up and you're patch after patch after patch, and you want to make sure that it works after every patch. Yeah. So I don't. That's a very good one. I don't know that everybody should use it because not everybody.
Yeah,
should use
I know.
It.
Yeah.
But I can't throw stones. I chose a NixOS one, so what can I say?
Well, you got the Borg one in too.
Yeah. So. I had to cheat. I always cheat. Okay, so here we go. So our purpose here is to create one list with 10 window managers on it. We have to agree. We cannot leave the podcast until we have one that we have agreed upon 1 through 10, or 10 through 1, doesn't matter. Which would you prefer, going 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
It's going to be really challenging trying to go from 10 to 1, but we could try it. It's up to you. I'm going to give you
Okay.
full ownership of that.
I don't know. I think they're both going to be pretty difficult. So I think it's
Yeah.
half of one, 60 the other. All right.
Yeah.
So the main rule there is that we have to agree. So if we can't compromise, we're screwed. I think we can compromise. We're reasonable fellows. Okay. DWM is not king. Okay. This is the point we're talking about. We can't fight with the chat too. All right. So
Let's go, War Thunder. Let us freaking go.
that he's the one we should have called for to back you up. All right. So let's go ahead then do 1 to 10. Drew, what do you think? What's your number 1 on the list?
DWM.
Okay.
I don't think there's. Listen, I'm aware of what Matt's going to say next. Okay. I'm there is no illusion that DWM will be in Matt's top 10. I don't know exactly where. I'm assuming. Okay. I'm assuming. But in order for me to like be true to myself, I'm going to go with DWM. It is a purist paradise, friends. Purist paradise.
But it's so hard to use, though, Drew.
Once it is set up, it is chef's kiss, baby.
Yeah, but you have to set it up.
Okay, so we're not talking about the process. We're talking about the actual like practice of using a window manager, because I can say a lot when it comes to it is pure Unix philosophy. Do one thing very, very well. It manages Windows incredibly well with no bloat, because you are cherry picking every single patch, and consequently every single feature that you want, and are removing everything else, or not even allowing anything else to kind of like come into that code base. So for me, it is damn near perfect.
Okay, so your argument was that setup was not part of the use, but your argument is also that in order to use it, you have to patch it.
You don't have to, but if you want, like, if you want some features that are not part of the code base, then yes, you're gonna have to patch it.
Like moving clients around in the stack.
Yes, that is part of the patching process for sure.
Okay, so mine obviously is Qtile, and that's because you don't have to go through and if you want to use Qtile out of the box, you don't have to go through and do any of that silly patching stuff. It just works right out of the box. Even has it has a nicer bar, because it actually has the clock in the bar. So you can tell the time. So
you need a bar? You need a bar? Come on.
Yeah, DWM has a bar. It's just freaking useless because all it says is the version number over there in the top.
SL status. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. Okay. I have a feeling that the best thing for us to do is just to go through them as we rank them, and then try to fight through the rankings. That's probably gonna be easier than naming them one at a time. Do you think that that's true?
Could be.
Okay, let's just go through. All right, let's do our top 10. We'll go back and forth like we're doing, but then and then we'll go through and try to order them out and do the arguing. So
it's going to be really hard when I say my number 2, and I'm fighting so hard against your number 1 right now, because my number 2 is Qtile. Okay. And so it's really hard for me to like, displace and like really like disparage Qtile for what it is, and know that it's probably my second favorite window manager.
I am astonished that it's number 2. I would have swore that BSPWM would have been number 2.
Okay, so I took a long time to really think about this through, because DWM and Qtile are both still being developed. And that was the criteria. Now, granted, BSPWM is on my list. No question about it. It is feature complete, but I kind of tried to gravitate towards those that are still kind of viable, and people that are still actually working on those window managers. So consequently, DWM's my number 1, Qtile's my number 2, and BSPWM ends up being number 3. Okay. So those are my top 3. And I've just kind of alluded to my reasoning for doing that. Now, there are other, as I get lower in my list, there are other window managers. Both of them. Well, let's put it this way. I also have those that are Wayland compositors that are obviously being worked on, but then there's a couple more that are feature complete, like BSPWM. So those are my top 3.
Okay, so I'll get there too. So my number 2 is not DWM. It's actually i3 is my second one. i3 holds a large place in my heart. If Qtile didn't exist, i3 would be it for me. And the reason why there is just because it's so. If you're a brand new user like I was once upon a time, i3 is like the best thing to start out with. The syntax is very easy. You have multiple selections for different bars. Polybar is like really good. You can do a lot of stuff out of the box. You don't have to learn C or Python to do. I mean, if you had an argument against DWM or Qtile being configured in an actual coding language, has to be it, right? So I think that i3 is just that good, and it's just overall one of the best window managers out there. And because it's so longly held and developed, it's been developed for so long, it's just, and it's still being developed on. You get new features every once in a while, but it feels feature complete. And because at one point it was like the window manager, there's so many tools out there like auto tile. If you want to make it into a dynamic tiler, you can do that with a script, and it just is so well done. So i3 is number 2 for me. This is actually kind of probably gonna be a surprise that it's this high, but Hyperland for me is number 3. And that's a very recent addition to the list. Like a year ago, it would have made the top 10 because it was buggier and crap, and it was always breaking. And every time they actually pushed out an update, it broke again. But it has been astonishingly stable for months now. So Hyperland is number 3 for me.
It's interesting too, because I guess when I actually did my list, I was thinking, okay, so given all of these window managers, what would I use first? And then if that wasn't available, what would I use second? And so on. So when I got to 3 and I said BSPWM would be my third choice, it had to do with the fact that it's still really not, it's not really actively developed. But then I went with Awesome WM as number 4.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the things, because of its extensibility. And if not BSPWM, then Awesome WM. But Hyperland ended up being number 5 for me. And the reason why is because I would actually try to, especially with Debian Trixie coming out within, let's say, 2 months, I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to actually use Hyperland on Trixie. I don't know that I'll be able to use the latest and greatest, but I recognize how good Hyperland is. And even like what, I don't know, 4 or 5 versions ago, even though it was still kind of like in a what I would consider a super testing mode. I mean, I would say in terms of like bugs and stuff like that, it's still not really to my liking in terms of stability. But it's really stinking good. It's really stinking good when it comes to, I really like the configuration file. A lot of times we actually look at these window managers, and if you can look at the configuration file and say, oh yeah, that's how that works, that's a plus. That's a real plus. And then that's why I think BSPWM is superior to i3. I think that when I look at BSPWM as a bash script, that configuration file, I'm looking in the chat. It's like, okay, so if I was to look at a beginner's window manager, what would it be? Matt's going to say i3. I'm going to say BSPWM as my beginner window manager.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fight that out later because I think that if you have to know Bash in order to use it, because not everybody. I mean, I know I see your point because Bash is fairly easy to use, and it's not as if you have to go in and start putting in for loops and while loops and all and you know, all this stuff. You could just, you know, basically write out the commands using BSPC and be on your way. It doesn't really have to be a Bash script. But at that point, you're just recreating i3. That's what it feels to me, right?
Yes and no, because, well, we can go back if you want to talk about that later. Okay.
All right. So you've listed up to 5.
I got
right?
to 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is DWM. It's really good. I mean, it kind of hurts a little bit to put it all the way down at 4 because at one point it would have been higher on the list, but I'm the kind of guy who I love to patch DWM. I don't love to use it. And maybe that makes me really weird. Like, I like to patch it, but I don't want to use it. But it's just
yeah, that makes you very weird, actually.
But it's just the way I enjoy the process of setting it up. I don't really enjoy the process of setting. I think also if I use just one monitor, DWM would be like for the exact reasons you listed as number 1, Drew, because you can extend it as far as you need to. It doesn't need to be have extraneous features if you don't want them. That's fantastic, but it does not handle multiple monitors well. Like, it just doesn't. And that I don't think that can be really. I mean, some people are going to say, well, Matt, you really like workspaces. You get 9 workspaces per monitor, but you have to have key bindings for all of those things and knowing where everything's at. And at a certain point, and I know this is going to seem like blasphemy coming from my mind, but at a certain point, there is such thing as too many workspaces. I mean, I have 3 monitors. If you have 9 tags per monitor, I mean, that's a crap ton of workspaces. I don't need 27 workspaces. You know, it's just no. You know, that's 10 too many for me. So that's my problem. So for those of you who ever wondered, is there a limit to the number of workspaces Mac could use? There you go. You got it. All right.
I need to write this down. You had you had Qtile 1, i3 2.
Yep.
Hyperland 3.
Yep.
What was 4?
DWM.
DWM.
And BSPWM is number 5.
Oh.
Yeah, BSPWM is number 5.
Okay.
My problem with BSPWM is mostly just that its premier feature, which is pre-selection, nobody ever uses.
That's true.
You know, like that's the reason why it's supposedly superior, other than the configuration file, obviously. I mean, like, that's where they differ. But like the means of using it, like the thing that you're supposed like is like the premier feature pre-selection. I don't know anybody who's ever actually used it, like beyond like the first time of learning it. Like they just use the layout that they've selected. Like, you know, they can get, you know, whatever layout they want, and that's the layout that they stay in forever. And that's fine. That's the way you can use it. But it just feels like if you're not going to use the premier feature, then there has to be something wrong with the premier feature. And maybe it's just because I'm so down on manual tilers other than i3. Because I always make i3 a dynamic tiler. I use a script to do it. So I'm kind of cheating there too. So 6 and 7 for you, Drew?
So I went with Hyperland. If I don't use Hyperland on Wayland, I'm going to use Sway, and that includes Sway effects too, because it's also kind of like, and it's the evolution of i3 into Wayland. Mm-hmm. I might as well use something that's as stable as anything. As far as a compositor, it is the most stable window manager. I think it's by quite a bit, actually. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sway as number 6. And because I have talked about and actually daily driven DK window manager in the past,
we have an agreement. Holy shit.
I'm going to go with DK as number 7. Okay.
That's awesome. I didn't think we'd have one where we disagreed right out of the box, but yeah, I have. Um, sorry, I didn't mean, I didn't mean to.
No, no, no.
Um, so for me, number six, I have Herp Slough WM. That's basically because Herp Slough and BSPWM are basically the same window manager. If you think about it, they're both configured in a script. They both have a agent like BSPC to manage everything. Um, Now, I think Herbstluft has more complexity than BSPWM does, but I think that they're basically the same window manager in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna push back on that one,
Okay.
especially because Herbs left WM. There is no way to do key bindings within BSPWM. Conversely,
That's a good point.
Herbs left WM has
Has
key
them.
bindings like i3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So BSPWM is incredibly modular. You need a bar, go get Lemon Bar, Poly Bar, Tint 2 for God's sakes. Doesn't even matter. You could use the XFCE panel if you really wanted to. Okay. What's that called? I can't remember what it's called.
It's XFCE4 panel. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So you could use any of those things. BSPWM is just the engine, just the manager of Windows. And so you need SXHKD or you have no keybinds, basically. So that in itself will deter some people knowing that they have to. But if you ever have used XXHKD, you're going to love it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
It is so good that you'll want to use it
In all
in other
Yeah.
spots, you know?
It's too bad that the Wayland version of it is trash.
Yeah.
Like it's just not good. For whatever reason, a lot of the this is kind of a tangent, but a lot of the transitory applications that a lot of developers have created to take place of some of the X11 stuff just didn't make the transition very good. So like Waybar, for example, is basically Polybar, but way more complex. Now you can do way more with Waybar than you can than you can with Polybar because of the CSS stuff. But you have to know CSS, and also the configuration file is written in JSON. Who the fuck wants to write a configuration file in JSON? Like seriously, whoever came up with JSON, just hold your horses on the quotation marks. Okay, that's all I ask. But so they did the same thing with the Wayland version of SXHKD. One of the greatest features of SXHKD is that it's literally just the keybind, the thing you want to command, and then the key binding, right? It's in basically plain text with a few brackets added. With at least the one time I tried it, the Wayland version, there's like extraneous code things in there that you got to deal with. So it's not nearly as easy to set up or as full featured. So maybe it'll get there someday. All right, so I had that Herbstluff was 6, DK was 7, 8, 9, and 10 for you, Drew.
Oh, I forgot to write down your herbs left. Okay. 8, 9, and 10 is now, okay. I'm going to take a liberty here because I have not used number 8 yet. And I feel icky for saying this, but again, I was kind of going under the impression that if I don't use DK, what would I then try to or go to in terms of transition? And I chose Neary as my number 8 because I would like to try it knowing what I know about myself. I have a feeling that kind of paradigm shift might be something that I would be interested enough to try to daily drive. So Neary ends up being my number 8, even though I have not used it technically. Now, Matt's going to be mad about number 9 because I put it all the way down here, and that's i3. Okay. Number 9 is i3. And number 10, another feature complete, and my first floating window manager, OpenBox.
Okay. First off, i3 at number 9, Drew, really?
You had DWM at 4.
Yeah, but that's 4. That's like ranking Jalen Hurts at 9. Okay.
All right. All right.
Anybody's been watching the sports show radios, sports talk radio this week, or listening to it. You know that actually happened. They ranked Jalen Hurts at number 9, but it's besides the point. Sorry, a little salty. All right. So my 8 is Xmonad, which is I can't believe I put it in the top 10, but I did. It's if you can overlook the fact that everything about it is Haskell and sucks, it's a good window manager. You can tell I have a lot of conviction about my number 8, can't you? All right, number 9 is awesome window manager. Lua is the dog's breath, but it's based on DWM, so it gets a little bit of a nod. And we agree on number 10, OpenBox. So out of 10, we had 2 agreements. That's more than I thought we would have. OpenBox is fine. I do not care for the way that it's configured, to be honest with you. I don't care for XML.
No, that's the hardest thing to deal with.
If it's like HTML but worse, you know, it's it's not actually. I know it's not actually, but it just feels like you're writing. Like, why am I developing a website? Like, it just gives me flashbacks. So yeah, all right. So there are our top 10 now. The hard part. the hard part. We have to agree on an order. The fact that you had i3 at number 9 tells me that this is going to be the hardest thing we've ever done. So, where do we even start, Drew?
I don't know. Here's the thing. The fact that we were really close on a couple, maybe we should work on the ones that we almost have a consensus for. So in terms of number 1 for you, Qtile, I can see why, and I would be okay with Qtile being number 1. Even though I am not, I have a way to push back on that in terms of like, you need a Python interpreter versus Qtile that is pure C binary, and how freaking fast and streamlined that particular project is. I can make that argument. Go ahead. I know that you're about to say something.
Okay, no, I'm gonna be magnanimous and say I agree with you. Qtile can be number 1, but also
Okay.
also because of that, DWM as number 2, I'll be happy with. I had it as 4. Moving it up to 2 is not a big deal. And I do agree with you having to download the entire fucking Python library, which is like 9,000 packages long, is a big deal. Like, for a lot of people, they don't like to have to do that. And I would ding Xmonad for that, because you had to download all the Haskell library. So Python shouldn't get a pass on that either, because you do have to download a ton of packages in order for it to work. So right now we have, I probably should.
I got Qtile 1, sorry, and DWM is 2. That's where we are right now.
Okay.
And then we also have DK at 7, and OpenBox at 10.
Yep. So one more and we can be halfway done.
Yeah.
All right. So that leaves ones that we have in common.
So we really need, this is the fight that we're going to have. We need to have an idea of where BSPWM and i3 go on this list. And you and I are not going to agree about this at all. And this also goes into what we were talking about with some of the people in chat asking about where they would start as a window manager. Now, again, let me just also preface this by saying, you may not want to start with either one of these, especially if you are on a distro that values Wayland, okay, more. And if you're coming from KDE or GNOME or something like that, that is a Wayland, that has already installed Wayland, you may want to start with something like Sway, because it's fairly easy. There is a transition there. But if you are like me and Matt, who have kind of like grown up with these kind of window managers, I'm going to argue for BSPWM as being over i3, and over i3, not just for my list, but for those of you that want to start as with your first window manager.
Okay. So here's my case for i3. i3 doesn't need a bar out of the box. You have one. i3 doesn't need, as good as SXHKD is, and we'll agree on that, you don't need it. It's already built in. You don't need to learn Bash because it's in plain text. The documentation for i3 is miles and away better than BSPWM. It's like it's not even close. Like there's a whole website full of every command that you could possibly want written by a human being. BSPWM, on the other hand, has a man page. So yeah, if you want to learn things as a new user, you're gonna need documentation. BSPWMs. Not only do you need a man page, you get 12 man pages because they're split. So you have one for BSPWM, you have one for BSPC, you have one for whatever bar you're using, you have one for SXHKD. So if if you're having a problem, you have to go and figure out where that documentation lies. With i3, all in one place. i3windowmanager.org or i3wm.org is the website. So
Isn't it weird though that i3 also had two completely separate code bases for a really long time that merged fairly recently to come up with one decent window manager?
Just goes to show you what happens when a window manager is actually still in development.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So we're actually getting new features. How's that
because
working
because it wasn't feature complete, so I guess they had to actually continue to develop it.
What happens if somebody wants a new feature of BSPWM? They're going to have to fork it and start something
feature
new.
Complete.
Well, feature complete according to the developers, but maybe not according to the users. We're literally it feels like we're in debate class in high school.
Yeah, I know.
You know, point counterpoint, Drew. I would be. I feel like I'm compromising here a little bit, but because you have i3 so low. I mean, you literally at 9, Drew. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? I swear to God.
There is two big outliers here. I have Awesome WM pretty high on my list. You had and you had i3 pretty high on your list.
Yeah,
those are the two kind of like outliers, I think.
So I would be okay with BSPWM being 3 as long as i3 is number 4.
Oh, that's fun. That's a win then.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a win.
That moves it up 5 spots on your list. I think that's an okay thing.
No, that's a win. And you're right, actually, because it's still being developed. It probably should have been weighted a little bit higher. But like I said before, if I was going to use an i3 type of window manager, I would use Sway before I use i3.
See, I don't trust Sway. Does anybody actually? Okay, quick poll in the chat. Who uses Sway or SwayFX as their daily driver? Show of hands. I'm not going to actually put a poll up there, but I would love to know, because I'm almost certain that because Hyperland's so good and has all this stuff in its ecosystem, the vast majority of people who want to use a Wayland compositor are using Hyperland.
Yeah, I mean, there's no. Okay, so again, if you're a Debian user, there's only one game in town. There really is. It's Sway. Because of the package necessary for you to get Hyperland to work, you just can't use Debian. You just can't. Especially, I mean, I can use Debian stable, Debian Bookworm right now and install Sway, and it will work. You know. So that was my thought in terms of why I positioned it differently than i3.
Yeah.
Again, I probably, and I can't say the same thing, because if we're talking about Hyperland, you had Hyperland at
3,
and I had Hyperland at 5. I think I had Hyperland at 5. Yes, I did. So that's where it's going right now. Hyperland is 5 because we've got Qtile, DWM, BSPWM, i3, and now Hyperland ends up in the number 5 spot. So we kind of need a 6 right now.
Okay, so let's see. This one, and this one. So we here are the ones that we have left. We have Herpsluff, at least on my list. Herpsluff, DK, Xmonad, Awesome, and OpenBox. We have DK in agreement and OpenBox in agreement. So we need Herpsluff, Xmonad, Awesome. And what were the other two that you had on? You had Sway.
I had Neary actually, and that's kind of an outlier for you as well as Sway.
Okay, so I didn't put Neary on my list at all because it doesn't support Xwayland out of the box. And that means that anything that's flat pack related doesn't work. Anything that's electronic related doesn't work.
Okay.
Now
Right.
you can, before the chat goes, well, technically you can use Xmonad satellite. I understand that there's a workaround for it, and eventually it won't be a workaround; it'll be built in. But as of right now, they've chosen to do it a different way. Therefore, your X Wayland stuff, that like Steam, for example, won't work without doing the workaround. And most people have success with the workaround. I'm salty because when I tried it, I was on OpenSUSE, and it didn't work because, well, it was sussy, as they say. So that's the reason why Neri wasn't on my list. Sway is just i3 but Wayland for me, and it has a worse bar. I'm a matter of fact, if you guys are watching right now, you can see I have a way bar right up there at the top. But I'm never going to tell anyone ever that Waybar is a better bar than Polybar. It's just not, because CSS, I think maybe if it was full CSS, it'd be fine. But it's not full CSS, it's SCSS, which means half of the stuff the CSS has, it doesn't have access to, like height and width and stuff like that. Those things just aren't available to you, which means that if you use them accidentally because you're thinking, well, this is just a CSS file, you're going to get errors. It doesn't work. So that's my biggest problem with a lot of Wayland stuff, is just they don't have a good bar. Now, I haven't tried HyperPanel, so it's objectively better, and it's not SCSS. Somebody told me it was SCSS. Whatever it is, I don't give a crap. It's not full CSS. Whatever it is. So, okay. That I know for sure it's not full CSS, because it doesn't have all the CSS stuff in it. Anyway, so that's my biggest problem with those. And Sway comes with Waybar out of the box. So
Sway bar, right? Isn't there Sway? Did you say?
I think it's just... you know what? I haven't used Sway in so long. It may be Swaybar, but I thought it was just Waybar. I don't think there's actually... Is there actually something called?
Is there? I don't remember. I haven't used...
Yeah, you may be right. I couldn't tell you.
Sway...
They're saying Swaybar in the chat, so maybe that's right. But isn't it just Waybar? Like with an S in the front? I mean, what's the actual the difference? Somebody's gonna have to tell us what the actual difference is. Either way, it's gonna be okay. So, a matter of fact, I know it is Waybar because it uses the same configuration as what I'm using right now, just with Hyperland and Sway swapped out in the config. So, Darth Vader in the chat says it's more customizable than Polybar. That's true, but that's like saying the DWM bar is more customizable than Polybar. Of course it is. It's written in C. If you know C, it's very customizable. You can do everything with... Let me see if you agree with this, Drew. You're big we settled on our DWM and Qtile, but would you agree that the Qtile bar is better than DWM bar out of the box?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
for sure. I mean, Qtile bar is probably one of the best experiences that you'll have in an X11 window manager by far, quite a bit.
That being said, because DWM is written in C, you can do whatever you want with it if you know C. Just like you can do whatever you want with the Qtile bar if you know Python.
Yeah.
With Waybar, you can do basically whatever you want if you know whatever bastardized version of CSS they're using. Whereas with Polybar, I know I'm fighting with chat at this point.
No, okay, yeah. I mean, the one thing that's, people are going to go, bars are kind of like whatever. You can use whatever bar on whatever window manager you want, and that's true. But out of the box, you kind of want that kind of integration when it comes right down to it. Qtile's bar is very good. Now, DWM has SL status. I just want to comment about, somebody's talking about, DWM bar is great. Yes, it's good. It's really customizable because of C, just like Matt said, but it's not so great that that DWM blocks does not exist either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
Have you ever tried writing just like the X name set or whatever script you have to write in order to create your own custom bar? Have you ever tried to do that?
No.
I mean, because that's the way you had to do it before, like SL status and DWM blocks got good. You basically wrote your own. It's basically like a series of, I think, for loops that constantly refresh using the sleep command in order to do all your stuff, and it just uses a bunch of bash scripts in order to do it. It's a mess. Xset root, that's what I'm looking for. X name root. That's what I'm looking. A lot of people actually still do that because they don't want to use an extra patch. but still, you're right. I think that. What do you think about bars, Drew? Do you think the bars are important to come included with, or are you happy to be left on your own and find your own?
Um, it makes sense for Qtile to have its own bar. It just does. Okay. Having said that, like, just to use one of our window managers at the bottom, we both said open box. Been around for a really long time. For the most part, people use tint to panel on open box. I don't want to use that. I don't want to use tent 2 panel. It's really hard to use. So for my custom open box, I'm using Polybar because I think it's just like it works so much better. So no, it doesn't have to be. In fact, you use the tools that you have to make the experience the way that's really what Linux is about, freedom, right? So, if we can get something that works exactly the way we want it to, might as well just freaking use it.
We desperately need a sound button where I can, every time we say freedom, there's like a caw of an eagle going across. Nate, thanks for dropping by, man. Have a good vacation. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Why would you come here to show hate? I mean, come on, man. That's just rude. Also, Pop OS sucks, and you can't say shit about it because you were here. I really can't say anything. I'm on I'm not even on a real distro, man. All right.
Wow.
So we have some work ahead of us, Drew. We have Qtile, DWM, BSPWM, i3, and Hyperland.
Yep.
As our top 5. So
we have 3 more spots.
Right. So we need to come up with a number 6. So for number 6, our options are Herbstloft, Xmonad, Awesome, Sway, and Neri. I'm happy with any of those that aren't Xmonad, Sway, or Neri.
Well, then Awesome WM gets the nod.
Okay. And then for 8, we'll put Herbstloft. That sounds reasonable?
Yep.
Okay. So that leaves Xmonad, Sway, and Neri.
Yeah.
So we have 9 and so some of these are going to be obviously left out. So we have 1 spot left, right?
Yep.
So and that's number 9. So for number 9, we can choose between Xmonad, Sway, and Neri. I'm going to argue against Sway just because we have i3 already. Well, if you're set on Sway, let's just give it the number 2 spot with i3. Like just do like a i3/Sway. they're the same thing. Do they just use different display managers? Like they're not different. They're functionally the same. I mean, the only place they really differ is the bar, and that's the reason why I just spent 10 minutes talking about the bar.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I mean, it's just they're the same. I can just pretend like i3 has the number 2. Or I guess it's not number i3 ended up being what, number 4? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So number 4 with Sway.
They can share. They can share the number.
Right. Okay. So that leaves Xmonad and Neri.
I might be having to dip into my number 11 spot here. My number 11 is Fluxbox, just in case anybody is like counting. Fluxbox was my number 11.
Okay. I'm going to argue. I have so many problems with Xmonad, but I do believe it deserves a spot in the top 10. It's based on DWM. It has all the features you'd expect from it. And while it is notoriously hard to configure because it requires you to know Haskell or learn Haskell, unlike Sway and Neri, it's fully baked.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can just go use it right out of the box, and it has scratch pads built in.
All right, I'll give it to you. Okay. I'll give it to you. Even though, let's put it this way, I'm not going to push that hard, but given what I think is, well, what both of our number 10s is with OpenBox, if given a choice between Xmonad and OpenBox, I'm going with OpenBox. I'm just saying.
I'm not reading.
Yeah.
I'm not reading your super chat, War Thunder. You can suck a bag of. Everybody can see that online on there. I'm not putting those words in my mouth. Also, Darth Vader, we're no longer friends. I'm just saying that's just uncalled for. Okay, so our final 10: Qtile, DWM, BSPWM, i3 slash Sway, Hyperland. 6 was Awesome Window
Awesome.
Manager.
Yeah.
DK Window Manager for 7. Number 8 we had as
Irby.
Herb Sloughed. 9 X Monad, and 10 Open Box. Yeah.
That is true. That
Okay.
is what happened.
Okay. So we're still friends at the end. I do feel like I compromised more, but I also got the number
I
one.
I do too, actually.
I it's kind of like the NFL draft. You get the number one draft pick, you gotta kind of be okay with the rest of it. So
Yeah.
as
Snake draft.
long as we can say that Qtile is number one, it's the best, and that DWM does in fact suck.
It sucks less.
Yeah, I should have put that on the thumbnail. That would have been funnier. Okay, so there's our top 10. So, in the comments or in the chat or whatever, we'd love to hear what your top 10 are. And there are 10. Okay, so we should have said this. There are 10 spots. So for those of you guys who watch sports talk TV and radio, they like to do top 10 lists of like QBs and top 10 basketball players ever. And when they name these things, they're like 20 guys in their top 10. Okay.
Yep.
We're not doing that. There's 10 spots. Okay. So if your favorite didn't get on the list, we're sorry. Make your own list. Okay. This is ours. And we did a pretty good job of not pulling each other's hair out or anything.
You know what? I'm just going to comment. Larry, Spectre WM is one that I should have tried that I have not tried yet. That's true. In fact, Mike at Linux Dabbler has been talking about Spectre WM for years and never got to that point. I did not include Ice WM. I've seen the chat also mention rat poison. I have tried rat poison before. It is interesting. It's kind of like, if I recall correctly, it's kind of like using a leader key for everything, and it's completely key centric. But overall, I think that our top 10 is staying. So
I can't. I mean, I'm a bit upset with i3 being so low, but it's not 9. 9. The fuck is wrong with you? It's okay. I'm still amazed that I argued for Xmonad, and also the awesome winning managers you've on the list. To be honest with you, so there you go. Those are the top 10 winning managers of all time. We're very Darth Vader.
it was a democratic process.
It wasn't horrible. I was expecting more shouting and a little bit of, damn it, more table banging, Also, will one of my mods in the chat please ban Darth Vader, because he's just been trolling me the whole fucking time. And I'm kidding, obviously. All right. Anyway, so that's it for our top 10 list. I think that was pretty fun. If you'd like to see us to do other top 10 lists, let us know what we'd like us to rank, because we would like to do ranks, and we came up with an awesome idea before we started recording. I'm just going to put this on there so it's actually recorded on tape somewhere. During March Madness, we're going to do a distro bracket. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know we did a tier list, but it's not the same. These things got to go head to head. And it'll be fun. So probably before that, what we'll do is we'll put out a poll so that the seating is determined by our audience. So you guys will get to determine the seating. So that way we can't fudge who plays against who. That will be fun. All right. Anyways, I can't wait till March. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right. We'll just skip the NFL season because we all know the Eagles are going to win again. So.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the Nuggies of the week. So this section of the podcast is brought to you by the Linux user group that we do every 2 weeks, basically. The second Thursday and the fourth Thursday of the month, we do 2 Linux user groups. And if you want to join one of those, you can find out more on the Discord or on my various social media channels. Basically, it's just a bunch of people getting together in a room talking about a Linux topic, and we have a load of fun. It's just everybody has a fantastic time. We're all very respectful from each other, and we all agree on everything. Wait a minute, that's not what happens. No, we get into a room, we talk about stuff. It's fantastic, and you can join or you can watch. We do stream the Linux user group, so if you want to do that, that's the second Thursday and the fourth Thursday. The first one is at 11:15 a.m. The second one is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Both of those Eastern time. So if you want to join, definitely join the lug. Our next one is a week from Thursday. So if you want to join,
24th.
yeah. So that is, yeah.
July 24th.
Yep, a week from Yep. I can't believe that this month is like almost over. Like we're halfway through the fucking month.
Crazy.
All right. Anyways, the nuggies of the week, Drew. Your nuggie of the week, please.
So I might have said this before, but I'm like a FZF like nut now. I use FZF for so much stuff. It's crazy. And I'm using an alias now that is just, the alias is git log, and it equals to git log and then dash online and then pipe FZF. And it tells you all the commits that you've made. If you're ever using like, if you do a lot of Git repo stuff or Git projects, and you do that particular command, it actually lists all your commits, and you can kind of like sort through them really quickly. That's unbelievable to me. So FZF is also the base that I'm using as a note. Something I shared with Matt fairly recently is this notes script that I've been like working on for over the last couple of months. And the only kind of thing that it needs to work is FZF. Well, and NeoVim, but FZF is how I'm kind of like making it work. And so FZF, good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, you know what? Surprisingly, I haven't gotten into FCF much, but it is a very cool. It is a very cool program. I should definitely use it some more. All right, so I'm changing mine. I know what it says in the notes, but I'm gonna change mine. All right, so I don't know if you guys know this about me. I mean, it's fairly obvious given the way that I talk, but I have a serious case of ADD. Like I've had it forever, along with dyslexia. It's like my only mental problems. Just laugh about that all you will. But anyways, one of the things that I've read online, and it's online, so it has to be true, is that if you have a fidget spinner around, you can actually work on your attention span a little bit. So if you have something for your hands to do while you're doing other things, you tend to switch tasks less often. So I went looking for a fidget spinner. Now they have a whole bunch of like little plastic ones, but I wanted something cool. So I don't know if you guys can actually see this. This is a little fidget spinner. It is made by a company called Freelove. I'll make sure I put a link in the show notes before I publish it. It's called Freelove Viking Pirate and Gossip Design Fidget Spinners. I don't know what any of that actually means. It just basically has a bunch of really weird symbols on it. I thought it looked cool. It's made of like solid metal. So I just sit here and I twirl the thing around, and while I'm like reading through the stuff I have to edit for work, instead of, for whatever reason, me sitting here doing this, reading while I'm working, like editing and stuff, keeps me from every like half of a paragraph go to YouTube to watch a cat video. Like for whatever reason, this works. I don't know why. It's like freaking magic. I sit here and I do this, or I spin it around on the table like a top, and my attention stays focused on that. Like I don't even really realize that I'm doing it. I just have it in my hand, and all of a sudden I can get through a 5,000 word article like without any distraction. It's really weird. I don't know why it works. Like I'm not a psychologist, but it actually works. So if you yeah, I don't think you actually have to have ADD in order to get one of these things, but for whatever reason, if you do have ADD and you find yourself having a hard time keeping your attention on something, you guys can actually see this. But I'm just sitting there, swirling this thing around. I've actually been doing it the entire time this podcast runs, so you can like I just have it in the hand. I don't even realize it. It doesn't make any sound. So if you're recording a video like we are, it doesn't make any like horrendous sound. So. Anyways, that is it's by far the weirdest nugget of the week that I've ever had, but goodness, does it work. Like it just works. So there you go. Anyways, that is it for the podcast. If you want to get in contact with us, the best way is our email address, which is email@thelinuxcast.org. You can email me, and if it's for the boys, I will then forward it on to them. If you want to find the awesome hat that Drew is wearing, that is available for sale. You can go to shop.thelinuxcast.org to get that, or you can find like the Linux Nerd hat if you want to get that, or there's a I Love Vim hat. There's tons of hats. I was talking to Vim before, talking to Vim. I was talking to Drew earlier, and we definitely do need to get hat racks, because literally both of us have just like stacks of hats. One of these times we're just gonna get buried in hats. No, that's exactly what you should do. Every like 5 minutes, just change your hat.
Yeah,
And not,
I was thinking.
not say a single word. Just do it. That's hilarious. But anyways, shop.thelinuxcast.org for that if you want to find that. You can find Drew on the YouTubes. He's Just a Guy Linux on YouTube, and he does mostly streaming now, which Drew, you were telling me you prefer to do now because you're streaming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun for me.
It's just
Yeah.
it is cool. So if you want to go there and learn more about Bash scripting and window managers and Debian, go check his channel out, Just the Guy Linux. The other two guys are on vacation, so if you want to find their contact information, you're just gonna have to go suss that shit out. And we are done for this week. And just a couple of housekeeping things. First off, for those of you who prefer the video, the live stream is the video for this week. There's going to be no editing of the video. There will be an audio version of this that will come out on Saturday that will be a little bit edited. I'll be doing the editing, so just be prepared for that shit. Not going to be as good as when Nate does it, but it'll be done. So that'll be coming out on Saturday nights. If you do subscribe via the audio thing, and if you'd be so kind as to go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, we'd be really appreciative. So that's one announcement. The other announcement is we don't have a podcast next week. We're off next week. So if we're looking forward to that. I appreciate that, but we will be back a week after that with another couple episodes, and we'll take another couple, then we'll take another one off. We're just basically trying to give all of us a little bit of time off during the summer. So
We have a special guest. I don't know if you're gonna
yeah, we do have a special guest the next time we're on. So just be prepared for
2
that.
weeks from today, friends.
Bring your hair is all I'm going to say. Is
Oh.
bring your hair.
Wow.
Okay. Anyways, that's it for this one. Is he bald? No, in fact, he is not bald. Anyways, that's it for this one. We'll see you guys next week.